Hey, ever feel like there's this endless list of things to do, but somehow you're still not getting anywhere? Or maybe you're here because there's something specific you're putting off right now, whether it's studying, tackling a work project, or just taking that first step toward a goal. Well, you're not alone. We all procrastinate, and it's one of those habits that can feel nearly impossible to break. But the good news today, we're diving into some powerful yet simple steps you can take to start shifting from stuck to taking action. By the end of this video, you'll see that making progress doesn't mean changing your whole life overnight. It's about building momentum, step by tiny step. Let's start with a simple truth. Procrastination isn't just about being lazy or undisciplined. There's actually a lot going on beneath the surface when we put things off. And understanding this can be a game changer. You see, our brains naturally avoid discomfort, and that's why, when faced with something hard or unfamiliar, we tend to reach for something easier instead. That might look like endlessly scrolling on social media, watching just one more episode, or reorganizing your entire workspace, anything to avoid that thing you know you need to do. So if you're feeling like procrastination is controlling your life, just know it's not a flaw in who you are, it's a pattern, and breaking that pattern is possible. So how do we actually break it? Let's start with something easy but surprisingly powerful: taking tiny steps. These are micro actions that are so simple, you barely notice yourself doing them. When you're stuck in the cycle of procrastination, the idea of taking on a huge project can feel like climbing a mountain. So instead, think of it like taking one tiny step at a time. Maybe it's setting a timer for just 5 minutes to get started, or organizing just one section of that big assignment. These tiny steps don't seem like much, but they add up. Each small action builds momentum. And soon, you're moving forward without that heavy feeling of dread. And here's where it gets interesting. Once you start with tiny steps, the magic really happens when you stick with them. This is where consistency comes in. By repeating small actions daily, you're actually training your brain to expect progress and feel a little less resistance each time. This could be as simple as spending 5 minutes every day reviewing your notes, or setting aside a small part of your day to declutter your workspace. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to keep showing up. Consistency is what creates that rhythm, that routine that eventually makes procrastination feel like the odd choice, not the natural one. But let's be real for a second, it's not easy to stay consistent all the time, and that's okay, even with the best intentions. We all have days when it feels harder to take action, but here's where small wins come into play. Every single time you complete even a minor task, celebrate that moment. Think about it as building a series of small successes. Each one builds your confidence. Little by little, it could be as simple as answering one question on an assignment or checking off a single item on your to-do list. These small wins remind you that you're capable, and that's what keeps the momentum going. Now, what happens when things don't go according to plan? Because let's face it, setbacks happen to everyone. Maybe you missed a day in your routine, or you had a rough week that threw you off track. Instead of seeing this as a failure, think of it as just a pause. One of the biggest skills you can build is learning to recover from setbacks. Maybe start with a tiny action to get back into the groove, like reviewing a single page of notes, or find an accountability buddy to help you reset. Remember, progress isn't about never failing, it's about being able to pick yourself up and keep going. Each time you bounce back, you're building resilience, and that's what sets you up for lasting change. Along the way, one of the best tools you can have is self-reflection. Taking just a few minutes each week to check in with yourself can be the difference between staying stuck and moving forward. Maybe you ask yourself, what worked this week, or what could I do differently next time? This isn't about being hard on yourself, it's about understanding what you need to make things work. And here's the best part: when you understand yourself better, you're more equipped to make choices that keep you on track. Think of this as your way of refining the process so it fits you, not the other way around. So let's bring it all together today. We went over how understanding the psychology behind procrastination can help you break the habit, how taking tiny steps makes action easier, and how consistency, small wins, and self-reflection all add up to create lasting progress. Remember, there's no need for drastic changes. All it takes is a commitment to small, consistent actions. Over time, these actions become routines, then habits, and finally, the foundation for the change you're looking for. And if there's one thing to take away from this video, it's this: don't wait for the perfect moment to start. Begin a day with just one tiny step, no matter how small. You've got the tools, you've got the knowledge. Now it's time to take that first step. By the end of the day, try something you've learned here. Whether it's setting a timer for 5 minutes or completing one small task, start building that momentum. Remember, progress isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. So go ahead and take action today. Watch as each tiny step leads you closer to the change you've been wanting. Subscribe for more growth-focused content.